Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. All Things Middle-earth here with part 2 of our Rise to War 2.0 Explained series. And in this video, we're talking about equipment and everything we know so far that has to do with equipment. Now, as I prefaced in the last video, this is all new territory, so we're trying to share everything we can to kind of give everyone a foundation. So if you're having some choice anxiety, not sure what to do, I'm hoping to at least get you a little bit less confused. So let me know down below what you guys think of these new changes, or if you have thoughts you want to add that you think are helpful, please comment those down below and I'll pin things that are useful if I do see them there. But we're going to talk about pretty much this whole menu and how I think you should go about interacting with these things and kind of exchanging your gear if that's something you're going to do. Now, before we jump into that actual menu, I want to talk about the actual changes that are happening with gear, because if you've not seen, it's quite a bit different. So instead of having gear with the stats that we've known for a long time, things like Frenzy and Cleave and Might of whoever it is and those kind of things, those things are going to be gone, at least if you convert your gear forward. And the game, in my opinion, is really moving towards 2.0. It has officially moved towards 2.0. And the old gear, I think, is intentionally being made very obsolete. Now, you don't have to like it, but if you want to keep playing, I think your best shot is going to be to convert gear and start building sets that kind of complement commanders and the new formation system. So again, the new gear, as you can see here, has little icons on top left that sort of symbolize whatever set it's from. And I think most of them are sets of 4, though I believe there were ones of 2. I can't remember if those are still in the game or not, but it works in sets now. So if you have 4 of the Divide and Conquer set equipped on your commander, you unlock this effect that's here. It's pretty simple and similar to a lot of other games that use sets for gear. But again, it's kind of up to each individual on whether or not they want to convert their gear. I personally am going to do it. I just think I want to play the game as it's intended to be played. I think the way to do that is by converting your gear. There have been some speculation on gear pieces that might be worth hanging on to, things like Cleave and Pierce, things like Burn Protection, Poison Protection, Focus Protection, Siege Shields, as well as Bone Talisman with Siege of Evil Man. Those are a few that I've heard that people have thought about hanging on to. So if you want to hold on to those for a little bit while we still have this event going on, you could definitely do that to see if they are still viable. But at the end of the day, I think almost everything is going to be better used with the new formation system by being upgraded to the kind of new versions of the gear. So to access the equipment event, you go down here to this, the very bottom left button here, and you click that. It's going to take you to the equipment event. And there are 3 different things here. And we're going to work through these from right to left, which is what I think the order is that you should go through these things in your account. We'll do some here on my account too. I did my alt account the entire thing on stream earlier. And after talking with people, I really feel like this is the best way to do it. Again, if you are converting, if you want to hold on to your stuff and kind of wait and see, feel free to do so. But if and when you decide you want to do things, I think this is the order to do it in. So first of all, we're going to the Elven Craftsman's Hammer selection area. And I'll put a picture up on screen so you guys can see because I'm blocking right now. But you are going to have, starting out, 40 free Elven Craftsman's Hammers to use, and you get 10 more every day. Now, I did not, I'll just kind of move a little bit here. I did not use mine yet on this account, so I have 50. So every day I'll keep getting more and more. So really, they're giving you all the hammers you need to break down all your gear. So no matter what kind of spender you are, you can break everything down. Now, our goal with breaking down is we want to break everything apart and get them all kind of individual. So then when we actually exchange them and make them into new gear pieces, we have a lot more options, as opposed to me just converting my drums with Might of Soldiers to be a 2.0 piece that's already fully strengthened and set like that. I want to get everything out of it, including worn out equipment, because worn out equipment can now be turned back into gear pieces. So we're going to kind of get everything out and get it all set as just single pieces, that there's no worn out gear at all. And we just have all of our sets we can look at. So here you see the drums. We're going to click OK. It's going to tell me that I'm going to get back all these materials that I strengthened into them, as well as 8 worn out accessories. And then this is a refinement piece on there. So I'm going to do that. It's going to take me down to 49 of these things left. So again, you should be able to do most of them very, very quickly. And we have all this stuff back. And so we're just going to rinse, repeat. We're going to go again. We got our Planetary Vorthanc. Takmark sucks. Takmark's awesome. Very happy to have that for a long time. 19 ward out accessories. Again, something that other than for strengthening has not been very useful, is going to have a use now, which I do think is really nice, as well as our refined items there. So we're going to do that one there. And I'm just going to go through again after I've unequipped everything and I've unlocked everything. I'm going to go through and break everything down in that area just like that. Next up, we're going to go to the equipment conversion area. This is where we can turn our worn out gear back into gear, which is really, really nice. Honestly, there's no downside to this. It's worn out gear. I will make a note that you cannot kind of overlap your gear. So if it's classic gear, it can't be used to strengthen 2.0 gear, and vice versa. If it's 2.0 gear, it can't be used for classic gear. So in my opinion, you need to make a decision if you're going to stick with classic or 2.0. I've already stated what I'm doing, but you can't go back and forth. So I'm taking the worn classic and converting it to a random piece of new gear, which again, then now this worn out piece won't be able to be used for classic gear. But we're just gonna do that. I'm gonna click convert. Again, you have to do it just one at a time. I just got a reckoning there. As you can see, worn out item. I just got a black bow here. I'm just gonna do this over and over and over again. If you're playing on BlueStacks and you want to do a macro, you can. It's pretty simple. If you just click this little button right here on the side, you can click open macro manager. And from there, you can record your screen clickings. And what I would do if I were you is go to your inventory. And if you're not using BlueStacks, just fast forward ahead 30 seconds here. But I'll go to your inventory. And so for me, I can see that I have 47 worn out weapons. So I gonna note that number in your head. I'm gonna go back over to the equipment conversion area here. And I'm gonna click on hand. And then I'm going to start the macro, which again, I've already basically told click here, and then click the screen to kind of confirm and then repeat. That's what it's going to do over and over again. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say, do this 47 times and then stop. So I click play, don't have my hands on here. It clicks there, clicks confirm, clicks OK. Then I click once more on there. And it's just going to do that over and over again. So if you're on BlueStacks or any other type of emulator, there's usually some kind of macro, since there isn't just a convert all option. Again, this maybe seems lazy, but I thought it was nice when I found it out. So if you're using BlueStacks, you can use a macro to more kind of passively do this in the background. Just make sure you set the number so you don't start churning through your other gear that you may not want to yet. Now comes probably the scariest part and the one that I think a lot of us are really unsure about. So again, I've not completely finished this account. I will do so very soon. But basically what you'll want this to look like on the equipment update side, which again, we're in this very, very last menu here on the left side. You'll want everything to be non-refined, non-strengthened, just totally base items all broken down like this. So you should have a very long list of things like that. And then you're going to want to go through and update all of it. Now you can select all, you can go through one at a time, whatever you want to do. If you just don't want to spend a lot of time on it and want to select all, again, I'm going to break these things down. I'm not going to leave them like this, but if you want to select all and then just turn them all into 2.0 pieces, that is kind of probably the easiest way to do it. And then you'll be able to go to your inventory and see all of your new items that are 2.0, all the different sets you have, and you'll start building sets on your commanders that you're going to use. And again, you'll use a combination of anything from gold through blue to kind of make sure the sets are complete, as well as being able to refine items. Again, I'll have a lot more refinement on my account now because I'm using all my worn out items to convert them back into items. So I'm going to have more reckonings, for example. I could have a refined reckoning that also has a different set on it. Now, this is where some more thought can come in if you're interested in it, if you've kind of started exploring through it. And we were talking about it in Discord and it came up. Basically, if you're like a lot of us who have hoarded very specific things for a long time, you might have a lot of the same types of effects on your old gear, which means when you convert them, you're going to have a lot of the same types of sets because the sets are set. For example, if I go down here, Tactical Mark, if I go to update that, Tactical Mark is always going to turn into Warcry, for example. So if you have a lot of something and want to make sure you have a variety, what you can do is instead of updating here in the equipment update area, you can go to equipment conversion and convert the equipment. So if, let's say I had a bunch of Retaliate weapons and I don't want that many of whatever the Retaliate set is, I can go here and exchange this Retaliate Reckoning for just a completely random piece. Now, again, you don't know what you're gonna get, but in this case, I got Upkeep, which I don't think is what is associated with that. So it just kind of shuffles things around. Again, this also affects how much you can refine things. So I think we were talking about it, and I think refinement is more valuable on items than like really trying to like make perfect sets, and you can use any rarity of gear to make sets. So I think you should be able to make your sets, but just as like a kind of pro tip, if you have a lot of stuff and you really want to start diving into it and kind of even like tracking how many things you're going to have before you do them, if you feel like you're going to be really heavy in one type of set, you could just reshuffle them to completely new pieces, which again might help you refine other pieces. But also if you use pieces that you'd like to use, like a Reckoning, if I want to refine a Reckoning, obviously getting rid of those is not going to help me refine that. So I feel like that starts to get a little complex. Hopefully that made sense. But again, very, very simply put, I'd work through left to right, 1, 2, 3. You can spend some more time on the conversion, kind of generating random pieces if you don't want whatever sets you're going to get based on kind of the guarantees from the items, because they're all the same. If you have A, it's going to be B, and there's kind of a list you can go through and see those. So if you want to look at those and put some more thought into it, feel free. If not, just go 1, 2, 3, and ideally you'll have your entire inventory completely broken down, nothing strengthened, nothing refined, everything in 2.0. So you have dozens and dozens and dozens of gold pieces or purple or whatever. Everyone's account looks different, so don't feel bad. I've been playing since the very first day this came out. So you should have lots of different pieces of gear and lots of different sets so you can pick what works best for the commanders that you're using. And honestly, that's pretty much it. Again, we could spend a lot of time in each of these videos, like really starting to get into other areas, looking at different kind of new sections. but I want to make these as concise as possible. So if you've gotten to this screen and just want to know how do I walk through that, hopefully that was clear there. Let me know if you guys have questions down below. As always, I'll try and answer them as much as possible, but work through right to left, break things down. If you're starting to wonder, okay, I've done that, I've kind of started to refund commanders, and you're starting to ask about what sets go and what commanders, we're going to cover that in the future as well, as soon as we have some more data to see what's really effective. But again, you just need to look at what your commanders do. So for example, if you were using Saruman or any commander like Saruman who does something like a lot of focus damage or poison damage or burn damage, for example, something like Lore of the Arcane, if I can find one here. Lore of the Arcane says this formation, burn, poison, and focus damage plus 10% that you'll deal there. So if you're wondering, again, I don't have a list just yet. We're going to work on it. But if you're wondering, okay, what sets go and what commanders I want to use, you need to look through your commanders and kind of see, well, what are they doing? If they're doing a lot of elemental damage, then boosting that might be good. If they have early round damage like Witch King with follow-up and you're using that kind of stuff, maybe something like Warcry that boosts early round damage for the first 3 rounds you boost your damage. Something like that could be good. But again, we're going to get more into that in future videos, but I just want to kind of preface that if you are wondering, okay, well, I've got all this broken down gear and these commanders, like, what do I do? Again, we don't have it completely figured out, but that's what I'm going to end up doing, is going through taking the commanders I'm going to use and then pairing sets that complement what they do. So anyway, that'll do it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, I'll see you in the next one.